Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And in this episode, we'll discuss Humza leaving and what's going to happen next. So, before I start, if you like the videos and you want to help the channel at all, you can subscribe, you can become a member, but the easiest thing to do is click a thumbs up when you see one of my videos. It does wonders for the reach. So, what happened today? Well, the much anticipated resignation of Humza Yousaf happened today in a press conference he called for at Bute House for 12 noon. And he took to stage, and first thing he sort of told us was he had notified his party to start a change of leadership campaign, and they will now look to find a new leader for the Scottish National Parliament, Scottish National Party, and he also is standing down as First Minister, however, with the caveat that he will serve as First Minister until a new one has been appointed. What he did say, and one of his main reasons for standing down, was he said that he would not trade his principles to stay in power, which I thought was pretty bizarre, because that is quite a wholesome statement. But I don't believe Humza is wholesome. However, that totally contradicts what he's tried to do since Friday, where he took to the mainstream media with his hard hat on, told everybody he was going to fight for his position and he was going to try and appeal to the leaders of all the opposition parties to try and find common ground with them. And then on Monday, he's deciding that he couldn't trade his principles to stay in power by doing deals with people. He also then said, but the next First Minister, as if he knew who he was talking about, by the way, without naming them, he said they will be better placed to do it. But you've just admitted that enable the position of First Minister in a minority government to actually work, they'll need to do deals with people that you're not prepared to do, because you said that was why you left, because you weren't prepared to do deals. So the next person will. So, in your words, principles are null and void from that position, particularly when it's a minority government you're trying to represent as the First Minister. So, a bit bizarre. He then went on to have a little cry about his wife and family. He got a bit emotional, to be honest with you, but he couldn't leave without mentioning Gaza, which I was like, why? Why do you even need to mention that? There was no need whatsoever, but Humza being Humza had to show a bit of solidarity with Gaza. I wonder if his wife helped him write his speech. I think it's obvious that his begging letters to the opposition leaders fell on deaf ears and they've hunted him. So there we have it. Humza is gone. Now, unlike people who celebrate deaths of particularly women, and particularly powerful women, who have died recently in the last few years, I'll not be dancing in the streets in celebration of this. I'm happy, delighted, but in my eyes, it is just step one of a multi-step process. The SNP are still in power. They don't deserve to be, regardless of who they put up. And we then need to try and change how Holyrood works and get more even spread of representation in Holyrood while we still have a Holyrood. But to get that, I firmly believe we'll need to tactically vote at the next Scottish election to actually bury the SNP. This party are not just morally, but they are financially bankrupt. And we could push them over the edge by voting accordingly in the next two elections, which will be Westminster and Holyrood. It is just a matter of time before we learn which one is first. My heart would love to have a Scottish election soon, but my head tells me they will do a deal with a cuddly First Minister that the Greens are quite happy with, and that way they will still be able to control government without the Brute House Agreement. That would then lead me to believe that someone like Katie Forbes will not be the new First Minister, or the proposed First Minister, as I should say, by SNP, because there's not a chance in hell that the Greens would back Kate Forbes. So it remains to be seen. There's a lot of names brandished about. I'm not going to start getting involved with hearsay and guessing who the next leader of the SNP would be and who in turn will be voted on by Parliament. A lot of people don't realise that the First Minister role is voted on by Parliament, because normally and recently we've had a majority government or a coalition government whereby they have simply decided who they're going to put forward and they would all put their hand up and vote for them anyway. It's now not such an easy thing because they have a minority government, so they're obviously going to have to put someone in charge, someone in place who can attract votes from someone in opposition, whether that be Greens or Alba or someone else, I doubt, but it could be. They will need to find somebody that will not only tick the boxes for their party, but tick the boxes for some other party as well. Or, if they do not replace the First Minister with an acceptable candidate within 28 days of the First Minister's resignation, and I don't believe he resigned from the position today, he said he will remain in place until someone else is put forward. But once he steps down officially as First Minister, then the SNP have 28 days to find a suitable and acceptable First Minister. If they fail to do that, we would then trigger an election. I would love that to come to pass. However, I think they'll do everything in their power to get a candidate that's not only appealing to their party, but also to either the Greens or Alba. And I would predict at this point they'll look for one that pleases the Greens. And then we've had a whole lot of bother for nothing. But who knows? They might not be unable to reach common ground within their own party, because from the Sunday Mail's exclusive yesterday, we now know that there are some in the Holyrood group of MSPs who are falling out with the Westminster group of SNPs. They are all party members, so they all get to vote on the leadership, not only the MSPs, but the MPs and all the other normal members of their wee gang. So, although it's not a foregone conclusion that they'll find someone acceptable from their own ranks, and therefore the Greens, I think it's probable, but there could be a few punctures along the road, and I've crossed my fingers and hope that people like Ferguson, etc., could maybe give them some problems, and if they're unable to find a suitable candidate within the next 28 days, then thankfully these good Scottish people will get to pick a new government. That's what I hope will happen. But I think the probability is less, and I think they will find a candidate that ticks all the boxes, and it confirms what Humza said, that he wasn't prepared to trade his principles for deals just to stay in power. But I think the SNP will, and they'll probably find a candidate from within their own ranks that appeases the mental Greens. So if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. If you've not already subscribed before, please consider doing so. But most importantly of all, unless you're Humza, he's crackpots within his own party, or some of the remaining but dwindling number in his cult. Everyone else, have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.